and welcome to yet another Q&A Thursday here at the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel, where we recently dropped a new main show episode.
Yeah.
That's really awesome, and I encourage you to go check it out after this show, because this is live, and we want you here for this. But afterwards, check that out. Anyway, housekeeping, stuff that's going on. What's going on in the world of TRC? I should also point out, Anthony has joined us here in the room. He's looking very comfortable.
Thank you so much. Levi, Dane,
We did what we could to accommodate.
We've made some alterations to the...
We looked at some power gurneys. They're about $9,500 on Facebook Marketplace.
Just
We thought
little
about
remote.
being able to roll them in. That way he had some adjustability and stuff. But again, out of the budget, unless people are subscribing and listening to the podcast. Get on there. Listen to the podcast so
I can afford my power
we can buy a power gurney for Anthony. Or any one of us may be getting injured.
So for anybody who's only able to listen to this, they can't see, but they're listening sometime in the future and like, well, I don't
hopefully
get
they're
what's
listening
going
to
on.
it on,
If you're listening to this,
Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
yes, preferably on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, especially Spotify, though, with the video feed that I've been pumping out lately. I really hope you guys are checking that out, answering those questions on the Q&As. Anyway, Anthony is laid out like this is some kind of chaise lounge. He's just hanging out because his back is a wreck.
The old days, it's called a fainting couch.
Sure.
Yeah.
A therapist couch?
Yep.
It was
kinda
funny because
deal?
Dane literally bought these chairs to accommodate partially me, right? 'Cause he's like, hey, a little bit longer, a little bit deeper, maybe a little bit more comfortable for you.
You're meant to like curl up with a book in
We
them.
got them
They're
delivered,
deep.
several weeks ago.
Yeah.
I sat down and I said, sorry, Dane, this doesn't work. And he goes, are you kidding me?
My
Because I
my
just bought 4 of them.
soul was crushed hearing anybody say anything negative about the chairs, because I put so much thought and effort into
did.
trying to accommodate everybody's needs.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd cracked the code because I needed it to be able to still show stuff behind the seat.
So I
for
kind of explained,
effect,
I said, hey, I
visual.
just need to be slightly more horizontal. And so yesterday he went out looking to like different like savers and big lots for like
drove to big box stores looking for ottomans.
little ottomans, and we realized that we had these from our SEMA booth, and we're like, let's try them out. And weirdly enough, they are the perfect height.
Yeah, they're
to where
working
I can
just right.
Speak for themselves, yeah.
Kind
I
of
mean,
get off.
realistically, we need to put some memory foam, maybe a sheet or something on there for you. A little more comfortable,
It's
maybe a
actually
blanket.
a bed. Like it just gets to the point where it's a full-on
It's just a
comforter.
twin. We just brought in a twin bed for Anthony.
Oh my gosh, I mean, would be pretty great. So a little bit of housekeeping before we jump into some questions. So this week at the Rag Company, obviously a lot of studio changes are still going on behind the scenes, and so we are. I mean, everybody's working really, really hard out there. Whether it's removing of the Swiss tracks, which has been pretty crazy, spraying everything off, getting all of the floor cleaned up, and then getting prepared for some major.
We've had some walls put up.
Major studio
In the
renovations,
studio.
right? They're going to start working on concrete next week, but there's new walls in the studio, so it's going to offer a nice variety in a kind of a change of style that you guys have seen before. And then hopefully everybody has picked up who's gotten their Father's Day kits or getting them, receiving them this week, because some of those bundles are pretty awesome. Whether you are a rinseless dad, a do-it-all dad, right? I think, what do we have? What else was there? The
I don't remember
I don't know,
all
the
the
foam
facts, but
dad.
yeah, foam dads. The foam dads.
the foam daddies.
That's like a.
I think this needs to be a shirt that we make called Foam Daddy.
Oh,
Daddy.
no.
What do you think?
I think Scrub Daddy would sue us.
No, they wouldn't. Foam
I
daddy's
mean, there
pretty
could be
good.
multiple daddies out there.
like to-
You know what I mean?
Choose your daddy. All right. It's like choose your fighter, but
Choose your daddy. Oh, gosh, man.
somehow this is supposed to be a Q&A, but I'm kind of missing just the vibe of us hanging out. It's nice to have you back in here, man.
Thank you, Dane. This is how it's
Yeah.
supposed to be. But other than that, though, here in the upcoming weeks, more studio renovations. So in terms of content, I think a lot of the stuff we've been shooting lately has been off-site content, which has been really cool. And then also just we also have some back burner. I can't say back burner. We have some videos back from our Florida trip that have still yet to be
Believe it or
released.
not, there's
Yeah.
still more content from the Florida trip that we haven't released yet.
If it wasn't for that Florida trip, I wouldn't have a job.
Did that thing pay off or what?
It did pay off.
Okay,
All
I'm going to
that-
pat myself on
I
the back
mean,
for making sure that
good
trip
job.
happened.
I think
You're
I'm
welcome.
starting to think that Dane did something to my back because
Probably. He worked you too hard.
It was my insurance policy.
Yeah.
I'm like, Freddie, we're going to come to your studio. We're going to shoot some videos.
Something like that. And then As far as other housekeeping things, what shows have you been watching? Because I'll let you guys know. I've been watching a ton of different shows. We're living in a golden age right now of summer where we have new seasons of The Boys, new episodes of The Boys on Amazon. We do have HBO Max providing House of the Dragon, season 2, pretty exciting. And then Disney providing what could be the worst series in Star Wars history, The Acolyte.
Every time a new one comes out, somebody ends up saying something.
It just seems to be like I got to episode 3. I'm gonna keep watching it.
Yeah, we all.
The fact that you're
We're all
saying
gonna
this
watch
like
it.
it's
you
a train
hate
wreck
it.
that we can't
It's
not
just
watch.
so slow. Like I'm all about a slow burn, but this is ridiculous.
Andor was worth it, kind of slow.
Andor was good.
Andor was
Andor
incredible.
was
That's the only Star Wars
Andor
TV
was
show
a
I will ever
feast.
need.
Yeah.
Andor was a feast.
It was.
This is just like I feel like I'm swinging by McDonald's
I
to
feel like
pick
I'm,
up a
I
couple
feel like I'm at like a
things.
really weird high school
It's
reunion.
just taking forever.
In like an alternate universe, and it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
You just want to leave.
For me, it's like my wife said it best the other day. She took the kids. They went to McDonald's. They stopped at McDonald's to grab some food on the way to the children's lessons. Right. My kids are playing. Hadley plays the flute and the saxophone. Augie now picked up the trumpet and the piano. So they were headed out to
sorry
their
about the trumpet
headed out to
situation.
their. He's actually pretty fun to listen to.
Really?
Yeah, I actually really enjoy it. But they were headed out to McDonald's on their way out to go to the lessons.
Yeah.
They stopped at McDonald's, ordered the food, and it's that situation. This is how the Acolyte makes me feel.
Okay.
Order my food, pay for it, pull up to the window. They open the window and you get ready to like grab your stuff, and they go, "Oh, we're still making your things. If you could pull up over there and wait." And so you pull farther up, and you have to sit and wait. But then you realize that like 15 minutes have gone by, and like 10 cars have come through the drive-through, and
They
you're
had
like,
smaller orders than you.
I only ordered like 2 Happy Meals. Like,
Too much.
what is this? What is going on? And then they finally show up, and then your food's cold. That's how I feel at the end of the Acolyte. Like I'm enjoying, like I'm eating the food, like it's sustenance, but I'm not all that happy about it.
You're going to have backfires later. Just wait.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, unless there's some other housekeeping we got to get to. I
Well,
do
one
have
thing I
several
wanted to
questions now.
talk about that because of the fact that we don't have the podcast to be able to rapid fire a lot of 2 times a week, get stuff out to everybody so they understand. You guys only have the Q&A Thursday to be able to find out some of the new and improved things that we've been doing, but
True.
we've still got spaces available for our July PPF training
Right.
that is happening at the store through Avery Dennison. So you guys need to go over to the events page. We've had a heck of a month.
Well,
we had
Where do they find the events page?
they go to
first
the
of all, so folks know where to go?
ragcompany.com, Dane. While they're there, they can sign up for the newsletter if they want. But if they go to the ragcompany.com, click right on the top right-hand side of the screen, you'll see it says events. You can click on that. It'll show you all the events we've got going on that are coming up or what's happening right now. You can click on that, and it'll take you exactly to the link to register for the class. So for any of you that have been wanting to do PPF or been thinking about PPF, you can click on that. I think the class is $1,200, but you get 3 days of instruction, 2 or 3 days of instruction. You get a full roll of film upon completion, and you get a whole entire pack of tools. So you can literally get started doing PPF right out of the gate. You also get access to sign up for the program to be able to get your kits and pre-cut kits and all that stuff. So just wanted to put that out. We're about 3 weeks away from that class happening. We just delivered all the film over to our storefront, MVP Detail Supply, so that they can get all that stuff ready to rock and roll. But I wanted people to know because, I mean, this summer we've had an awesome time doing classes. We had PNS doing a legend coding class here at the Rag Company at the storefront. We also recently just had Diamond Pro Tech training and Flex training. So we had Diamond Pro Tech and Flex in the house, 2 days of training available to you. You could come in, sign up.
Yeah.
Everything we've been doing is putting it on the website so you know how to pay for it, sign up for it, and it takes place over at the store. So just wanted to put that out there. It's been kind of a bumpy start for that because of the fact that we've been building this place.
Right.
So wanted everyone to know, please, please, please check out the events page. We've got a couple more events coming up that we want to be able to let people know. But the next one is a big one, the PPF training. So many people have reached out to us and gone, when's the next PPF training? It's in 3 weeks. Get ready. So
Nuts.
No,
That's the
it's
biggest
just
one.
because people
Hopefully.
ask all the time about, well, like, do you guys ever do events there? And it's like, now we have a calendar. So we
Yeah,
want you to
we
go
have
check
it.
that
Go
out.
get it.
We want you to see it. We want you to note the ones that you're interested in, because otherwise, like, we can say it here, but not everybody catches it
Yeah.
at the right time.
Yep. So keep
events
checking
page,
back.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah,
it's
keep
at.
checking back, looking at it. Last time that we did a PPF class, I think Anthony was out of town
I
or
wanted to
sick.
take
I
it.
think
I
you
wanted
got
to
you.
take it.
Yeah, you were sick or something.
Yeah.
and you couldn't make it for that. And so hopefully you've got 3 weeks to get your back in order so that you can take the class.
When is it?
3 weeks, like mid-July.
Mid-July? Oh, crap. Probably not, but I want to.
You gotta.
I seriously, I've like the PPF is something I've wanted to learn. It's such an expensive thing to, it's such an expensive product to test and experiment with. I mean, like small little pre-cut pieces here and there I've done over the years, but being able to do a bolt cut or being able to cut off a big piece for free at the training, right? Mess up at the training, right? Scrap as many pieces as you want. What more? I mean,
yeah,
that's,
and then
that's
when
like
you're
best case
finished,
scenario.
they give you whatever roll you want. Like they'll give you a full roll of film.
PPF just to keep going, and you can keep playing it. So, yeah, PPF is it's super cool, and I think that's that's the future. I mean, it is the future, and it's going to continue to be the future with more and more people becoming more educated on PPF and the benefits of it. And
the films are just getting better and better.
And the films are getting better every single year. They're getting better, and I think that a lot of smart detailers right now are learning the PPF skills and are offering some type of protection film or outsourcing it to somebody, a friend or something, to be able to provide that service, right? Because it's such an important part of what we're doing nowadays. So something to think about. All right, Dean, let's jump into some other questions. Here
Get
we
this
go.
party started.
Oh, absolutely. So I'm kind of going through there, marking the favorites, but obviously we're starting things off. Details of me actually beating Umberto to the punch there with a classic first.
Wow.
So
That
first
usually
from
doesn't
Puerto
happen.
Rico was not first today.
Yeah, I hope Umberto's okay.
Yeah.
Dan Pfeiffer obviously is, with a good afternoon and a word up from rainy Minnesota, USA. Happy Friday Eve, TRC gang. Hard to keep my cars clean lately, as it rains nearly every single day here now.
I would love that.
Yeah, we
I
don't
would
have
love
that
a
here.
rainy week.
We had a few random rainstorms, but overall it's just starting to bake.
Yeah,
outside.
last night I was out for a walk with my beautiful wife, and we were there was wind in the air, and it was whipping up. And we were out walking the neighborhood, and I had my scan grip light on my head, so we could see what we were looking at because it was dusk. My wife, I call that 0 hour. We were walking. It's the time of night when the dragons can't see.
Oh,
if you remember from Reign of Fire,
one of my favorite movies.
or Matthew McConaughey says,
it's a good movie.
we hunt dragons at 0 hour, right when the light comes down, but it's not too dark.
It's not a classically good movie, but it's a fun movie.
No, it's a
it's
perfect
a,
movie.
It's a good,
It's a classically good movie. I watch that movie any day.
It's a great time. It's a good-ish movie.
Perfect.
Dane, they used real effects in that. In
Those
that
were
movie.
real dragons.
Those were real
in that
dragons.
movie. Real
like
dragons.
they literally killed the last of our real dragons in this world for that movie.
Yeah.
Dane.
That's all you got.
But anyway, we were out for that walk. A lot of dust and dirt got whipped up, and I could see it because of the beauty of that scan grip light. It was all coming at me. I had to turn it off because I kept going, like thinking it was bugs and stuff because it was so windy. It was whipping up everything, all the dirt and dust. So, anyway, side note, I'd love some rain.
And Hans, classic Hans, over from overseas. Hello, Tell brothers and sisters.
What's up,
Welcome,
Hans?
What's
Hans.
poppin'?
And a bunch of people saying hi to Hans. And back and forth, we got people saying, hey, woohoo, all the first crew already here. Thank you, Dino. And how are you doing, boys and girls? So, obviously, then we get to people's days here with Hans explaining. Had a long day. Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead, Dane. You read that.
First working at a dealership, got home to eat dinner, had a customer pick up a car at my shop, got a call from a local detailer with very soft paint, brought him the last cut.
Nice.
Oh, Hans, you're doing the Lord's work.
And then all three of them then raced home for IDA Health and Wellness Zoom call, and now waiting for my weekly Q&A
Nice.
fix.
Busy day,
Yes.
Hans. Busy day.
I mean,
Right.
but you know what? Think
Yeah.
about it, Hans. Right? You're enjoying the views and the weather over there in the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
You're able to.
You could also pick up a fresh stroop waffle if you wanted.
That's one thing that I
Access.
Why didn't we do that?
I don't know. Do you know? I watched
Why
a
didn't we
video
get a
the
fresh
other
stroop
night where
waffle
they
when we
were
were there?
they
Yeah.
were making fresh stroop waffles, and I told
Yeah.
Carly, I was like, That's my one thing that I am
Regret.
so upset that I missed when we were over there. We walked by how many stands?
4 or 5 stands, easy.
Fresh,
We
making
could
them
smell it like it was right
piping
there.
hot. And for some reason, we never stopped to get one. Like I don't know if it was the jet lag
Huh.
or the fact. Dane, you got shushed away and like because you had your
Yeah.
camera out.
Yeah, because he was filming the women. In the...
What?
There was all those stroopwafels.
What?
They
That
were
sounds
making-
terrible.
No, sorry,
you
what
were
was
getting-
I doing?
he was
Well,
getting
so we were because
told not to film.
when we were walking in that particular area. Right,
Yeah.
there's people selling their services.
Right,
and you can't-
stroopwafels and things like that.
Things like that. So
Yeah.
when you have your phone out, they will tell
Yeah.
you, "Hey, no, put
Yeah,
your phone
put your
down."
phone away.
Oh, when we were
Yeah.
walking along the river district and are
Yeah.
trying to get shots of the
Yeah,
river
of the
and like
river
the
and the
surrounding
canals
buildings
and the
because you're in
buildings and
a
the
historic,
architecture.
iconic
Yeah,
area.
yeah.
And then, of course, somebody's like, hey, don't film the merchandise in the window.
yeah.
It's like,
That was
wasn't
the-
aiming for
was
that.
The stroopwafel places. We didn't stop to get a stroopwafel. Fresh stroopwafels.
You really threw me there for a second. I was like, wait,
Yeah, you
I
could
was
smell
doing
it
what?
though. Yeah, it was amazing. But
But
I'd
no.
say literally like I was seeing vendors literally in a show and they were making stroop and I was like, oh my gosh.
Well,
boy.
the way I see it is Hans has access to stroopwafels. He has access to all sorts of things like that, right? But also he gets to go see our friends at Ride Come to Europe often, which, I mean, everybody's
Yeah,
amazing
perfect.
over there.
Beautiful
And they're
place.
killing it. So I do want to shout out to Ride Company Europe because if you guys aren't following them on Instagram, I highly recommend it. Even if you live here in the U.S.,
Yeah, the kids have been doing a great job.
their content's fantastic. I love all the creativity that they're doing, and really, we don't give them. We don't. I don't credit them enough for what they're doing
Yeah.
with how much video stuff they're doing. Honestly, because we're always focused on what we're doing over here. I trust wholeheartedly what they're doing over there. But going through and actually just watching and absorbing their content,
They're great.
It's awesome
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, I'm really proud of them, and I love that whole team. And hopefully someday we'll go back.
Yeah.
and
And,
I'll take another bath there at
Yep.
that hotel in the
Yeah.
Netherlands. That was
That was
quite
nice.
nice.
I'll be able to eat a delicious breakfast at that same hotel.
What was that? What was that hotel called?
Can't remember, but it was
It was the
great.
best breakfast we've ever had.
Yeah, best breakfast ever.
No, it
period.
was. It was the best breakfast that we've ever had on any trip. And my favorite part
Yeah.
is I'm excited. I'm eating all this amazing cuts
Yeah.
of meats and all sorts of different
Yeah, we had 2 plates each walking to our table.
waffles, pancakes, and then I run upstairs. I sprint upstairs to go
Yeah.
tell Dane and Jeff. I go, guys, prepare your minds and body for
Yeah.
the best breakfast you're ever going to have. They go, they get their plates. I come down just to watch them eat because I
Right.
want to see their reactions. And Jeff takes a bite or sips the orange juice and he goes, "Yeah, it's
It
okay."
was fresh squeeze. They had multiple
Yeah,
carcasses of
and then
oranges.
Dane takes a bite,
there.
and Dane only gave 2 head nods.
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Are you freaking kidding
Yeah,
me, Dane?"
Dane's like, it's not Express Cafe.
And he goes, "Yeah, it's okay. It's
okay.
good, guys."
And then the next day, earth-shattering news.
yeah,
Not the same.
yeah.
Totally different breakfast options at the Holiday Inn
Yeah.
in Switzerland.
Yeah, and then I looked at
Geneva.
them. I looked at them and I said, "So, is this pretty good as well? Is it okay?"
They were like, no, yesterday's was better.
"No, yesterday's was pretty. It was better. No, crap, it was better. It was the best breakfast we've ever.
Garbage
Best
breakfast
thing we ever
we've
had."
This is the worst breakfast we've ever had. Next day, it was, I think, the juxtaposition also of the two.
Man.
Dude,
Dude,
really
there's
got us.
things I know. I know good sense and I know good food, right? And the fact that they literally were just like, "Ooh, it's all right," I'm like, whatever. You
I
guys are
promise to
wrong.
those listening, they're detailing questions in here somewhere.
Part
we
of
will
our
get to
thing.
them.
We've had a lot of pent up.
They get a
stuff
lot
we
of
gotta get
pent up
out.
chatter that people were missing.
All right,
David
JB
Cervantes
in the house with a hello. Oh, David Cervantes with a
Yeah.
what's up, guys? And then Joey Belinsky with a hello, my good friends. What's up, Joey? How you doing?
And then let's see here. We've got details of me actually talking to people this time.
All right.
Oh, I was expecting you to read.
You were just saying hello, Detail fam. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm on summer break and loving it.
Nice.
Franco.
Then we got some back and forth here. Oh,
we got-
love this. Just going to leave this here. Rinseless.
Nice.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
Alex.
I found, okay, so this is a
Did I
little
miss something?
inside baseball. Basically, I have been, in retrospect, or after the fact, titling these Q&A Thursdays with spicier titles to try and get more people to watch. It's been working, And it's
Excellent.
tied to the stuff that's talked about during the show. But the
How
issue
spicy
was,
are you making these days?
Yeah.
like, are rinseless wash haters wasting their time and stuff like
I
that?
didn't know if you were going to put like 18 plus adult content only. In this
No, that's going to
podcast.
get less viewers because
No.
YouTube will crack down on that.
don't know about that,
Anyway,
maybe.
besides the point, I'm mostly trying to get that stuff out there because I want people who've never seen the show to watch this show
Oh, yeah,
and actually ask questions that we haven't seen before because I think
Yeah.
that'd be fun. But yeah, in the meantime, that has been working. But this time, I named it before the show, so I'm hoping
Okay.
somebody talks about the thing I titled it, so we can have that conversation.
that,
For
yeah.
those who don't know, I was basically saying, hey, are people who do soap washes versus rinseless washes, are they wasting their time? Is it just the extra steps? Are those necessary? Or are
Yeah.
you just doing it because you feel like, oh, I have to do it this way? So weigh in. Let us know
right.
what you think.
Yeah.
All right, moving down the line. I love the Anthony cam. We have a lot of comments on the Anthony cam.
Thank you, Dan. I mean, hey guys, you're seeing all of me, right? This is, I mean, there's
Against their will.
There's no
really
hiding
seeing
it.
all
Like
of
I
you.
said, I was telling Levi before the podcast started, the only thing that makes this worse is that if I was in stirrups, I mean,
Well, you might have less pressure on your back.
I'm just glad that those benches don't angle up.
me
right.
too. I'm wearing shorts today. All right. Next up here
There
we
we go.
have the one who shall remain nameless, who today we are going to name Bartholomew. Hello,
already did
hello.
that
We already did Bartholomew?
Yeah.
What about Victor?
Ooh, Victor. I don't think
I
we've
don't
called
think
him
we've done. I
Victor
don't think
yet.
we've done a Victor. So
Okay.
Victor says, "Hello, hello, hello from the sunny and warm Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Oh, beautiful.
Actually, on a boat right now,
Nice.
heading back to the mainland after working on Nantucket today.
And you
Nice.
have signal enough to watch
Nice.
this? That's
Just
impressive. All
enjoying
right.
a little boat ride.
Sweet.
That's probably Wi-Fi on the
Do
boat.
you like
Yeah,
boats,
could be.
Levi?
No, I don't like anything near water or
I
on water.
love water.
I
But,
can't.
like you're
I
just,
am.
you're just not a boat guy in general.
Well, so I have an innate fear where I'm going to drown at any
Well, that's a real
moment
fear, yeah.
on water.
On a scale of 1 to 10,
And-
how's your swimming skills?
0.
See, I'm
Not even like a 1 or a 2?
No. You
I-
put me anything past wherever my head ends. So maybe anything below 6 feet, maybe 5'11". I have enough where I can touch and jump to keep my head above water, but I am just pure dense stone, and so I am one of those people that could probably just walk along the bottom of a pool.
Oh, boy.
Never float.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
I think you might be Poseidon's son. If you could
Physics
actually-
again. Well, I can't breathe in the
Can't
water.
breathe
That's the
in the
only
water.
problem.
That is a problem.
I do have some of the genetic code that Percy Jackson has, but not the gills or ability to breathe underwater, which really doesn't help me at all.
It doesn't.
How about you, Anthony?
So I'm a out of 1 to 10 or a 0 to 10.
If a professional swimmer, like athlete,
Was
is
a 10? Yeah,
Oh,
I'm a
so
zero.
and 0 is
no.
like you'll drown the second you set foot in the water,
If we go on the boat, let's say we go out on your parents' boat.
your average person is going to be somewhere between a 3 and a
Yeah.
6.
The life jacket that I'm going to wear will somehow fail, and I will just sink to the bottom of Arrow Rock Dam.
Okay.
But it'd be fine. I have some homes underwater over there that I still own the property on. I could be.
Yeah.
I could go
So-
live there as a ghost.
So, obviously you guys know that I'm Portuguese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm 50.
A water and not only that, an islander,
yes.
an Azorian.
And so, correct. That's actually exactly what I'm getting to. And so, I don't consider myself Portuguese. I consider myself Azorian, right? Obviously, being that my family is from the Azores. And so, I don't know if you know this, but there's a whole, the theory that the Azores Islands, right, not too far off, is actual Atlantis.
Right, correct.
That's just one of many theories. But with that said, I'm about a 1 out of 10 swimmer.
Okay, a little better than me.
I can swim in a particular direction. I cannot tread water, and that's why I will die.
Yeah.
And
Neither
I
of you
have
can
no
tread
ability
water.
to tread water. I don't even
No,
know how that works.
like I see people in 12 feet of water, and they're just standing there, and they're just floating with their head above
Yeah.
water.
I'm one
and
of
I
them.
go,
I'm choking.
And I go,
I'm choking,
"What?"
and there's usually a lifeguard pulling me out, going,
Oh, my gosh.
Did you forget to breathe?" And I go, "I was trying to tread water, and I don't know what happened. I
don't-
just sunk."
I don't know how the leg work. And they say,
Yeah.
oh, you kind of create like this swirling effect, right?
Yeah.
When I do it, it pulls me deeper
yeah,
under.
yeah. It's like putting the ceiling fan on the reverse first position.
I
That's the
suck
same.
at it.
Yeah, I've never been able to do it. But then again, I got to think back. My whole life, not a water family, not a water people.
Yeah.
So my parents would take us to go swim lessons for 1 week through the summer
But
at the
aren't
YMCA,
you Norwegian though?
and that was it.
Don't you have some Norwegian in you? Or
Yeah, but
some...
we're not a seafaring folk.
Oh, you
I'm
were land people.
Yeah, I was a descendant.
See,
of
I'm the
land
kind of
people.
Norwegian that swims.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. All right, well, we gotta move on to some other questions here.
We got a detailing question here.
We got
Thank goodness I found one.
Details in me says, I have a question, guys. If I'm going to coat wheels, should I use a dry towel on them?
A clay towel.
Or a clay towel on them, or would that mar the finish? They are polished aluminum. It depends. It really depends. Like, do they need to be clayed? Are they? I'm guessing the way you're asking is, it sounds like they're old wheels. They're not new wheels that you're coating.
Are they polished? Because polished is hard to coat.
Because at the same time, you would treat it like paint, right? I mean, certain wheels that are maybe older, like, for example, if I had a set of matte or satin painted wheels, right? Would I clay them? I don't think I would necessarily clay them unless like I had a flat enough surface or I felt like there was something on them that needed to be removed. But with a really deep wheel cleaning and a variety of different chemicals, I can usually prepare them to coat regardless of how old they are. But when it comes to, if there's deterioration of the finish, then claying or polishing may or may not help. I don't know.
Well, and the question is, are they truly polished aluminum?
Yeah.
If they're polished aluminum, there is no clear coat on them.
No, there's not.
So it's going to be a lot harder to coat that wheel because what you have now is a porous surface that is going to absorb a lot of that coating, but it's also going to shed it faster.
It's going to shed it, and it's still going to tarnish. Still, it'll reduce the tarnishing. It'll give you more time, a little more lifespan out of it, but eventually it will tarnish again. So it just matters. Give us a little bit more information, and then we'll help you out there. Next question here, Dane.
There we go.
Lucas.
I'm kind of jumping around.
Hey, all, my first live TRC show, 10 p.m. here in Slovakia. Hey, Lucas, how are you? Very happy to be here. Question for Levi. Uno Advanced. Is one blue wool enough for a quick polish and protect in 30 minutes on a mid-sized car? Yes, but keep that pad cool, man. Keep it cool as much as you can.
Keep it cool and clean.
Yeah, blow it off. Get it to bring that temperature down. That temperature is what's going to destroy that pad.
And even if you need to stop halfway through, a quarter of the way through, a third of the way through, remove the pad, right?
Yeah.
Go rinse it out. Go rinse it. Get, clean it out with a little bit of APC, brush it out really quick, spin dry it, maybe air dry it, and then get back to it, once
the key is
it's done.
temperature control.
Yeah, because what's going to happen is that buildup of that Uno Advance is just going to keep building up into the fibers and building and building and building to where eventually you're going to have this matted down. It feels like a clay bar. Literally, you're going to have so much product built onto these fibers that it's not even going to do the job it needs to do. So just keep that in mind.
My favorite comment, which I think is just the same person who posts under different names all the time, but one thing I noticed, if you're good friends with somebody, right, like you're in a round circle with people and you're all just chatting, like, you were in high school or junior high, you're all chatting, you tend to talk over each other, right? It's like a natural conversation.
Yeah.
It happens. We like to kind of carry that feel over into our shows.
I feel like Harley is one of those people that talks over people in public,
but doesn't realize
that they do it, and then they watch something, and then they're like, "Hey,
they're
hyper keep talking over each other." I don't know any other way the three of us can sit here without stopping and waiting until you finish your thought.
We're not scripted. That would leave so many pregnant pauses throughout a show, just like, oh, you're done. Okay, yeah, let's continue.
It makes for awkward robotic conversation.
It just wouldn't feel natural. Oh, no, we just talked over each other.
I got an idea. We could say 10-4.
Yeah, we could do that. We could try that. Good question for Anthony. Where's my new Ultra wheel brush? Asked Rick Smith.
No. He wants you to create an easy detail brush, but in the Ultra form.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. So that's in process. It's one of the many things that are in process, but right now there's some other things that have been kind of prioritized. So we're kind of shifting that. I'm doing a lot of drawing lately on cardboard and napkins, and I don't know if it's translating properly, but we're working on stuff, Rick, and I hear you. I know what you're saying, and I also want the same thing. So we'll get there.
It's not for lack of trying. And these things take time.
Yeah.
All right. Then I got David Boyce with a question. Anthony or Levi, feel free to take this one.
Anthony, how do we stop our IK Pro 12 foamer to give us good foam? And it's leaking at all assembly points and not airing properly. Give us a how-to video, Anthony, please.
IK Pro 12
The foamer is
foam.
not producing enough pressure and it's leaking everywhere, so it's not able to spray foam.
So the first thing I'd probably do, if you're having leaking points or you actually have an air escape or product escape, you need to remove all your fittings. You need to check the threads. You need to see any of the
Make sure you got O-rings, threads.
Well, make sure that the O-rings and the threads, make sure everything is not stripped. Make sure because it's plastic on plastic fittings, right? On the IK Foam Pro 12.
Add a little Teflon tape.
You can if you need to, but I'm talking like one wrap of Teflon tape. You're not doing any more than that. But realistically, everything is a Viton seal on all of the sealed points on that unit. So what you could do is you could take everything off, remove the fittings, remove all of that, look down into each fitting, right? And each fitting, the female end will most likely have an O-ring down in there, one of the seals, and you're going to go ahead and remove that. You can remove that with a little pick or little tool. Remove that, and then look at the health of it, right? Does it look like it's deteriorating? Does it look like it's smashed in? Is there a reason it's not sealing? And you can soak those in just a little bowl of hot water so they kind of regain their shape, and then let them cool, and then you can reassemble everything, and hopefully that will prevent any future leaks. You can also do, again, a single wrap of Teflon tape if you want to do that. But when you're asking why is it not giving us good foam? Well, if you're losing pressure, you're not going to get a good foam because of that. But also, what is your dilution? What product are you trying to foam? Because for years, I think nothing chemically has changed with any of our content, of any of our foamer stuff. Everything has stayed exactly the same, right? The dilution ratios, all of that. Well, yes, some of the foamers have gotten more powerful and are now able to hold a higher PSI or, fill faster now with the eFoam Pro 12 stuff. At the end of the day, your dilution is one of the most important things, as well as your maintenance of the overall sprayer, right? So checking your filters, making sure your filters are good, and then doing just an overall clean of the unit as well, right? Maybe just putting a little bit of warm water in there with maybe just a little bit of vinegar, and then just running that through the whole system to make sure there's no clogs or anything like that, because you could have residual soap or residual product that has maybe hardened up or maybe lodged itself in one of the tubes or holes, because those orifices are, again, very small. So if I'm seeing enough cases of this, then absolutely we'll make a video, but nothing's changed maintenance wise. We have a whole IK sprayer teardown video where I tear everything down. It's the same concept, just a larger sprayer now. Does that help?
Help?
Okay. All right. And then let's see here. I've got one. Okay. Well, EC asking the fun questions. I'll throw this one out there with Eddie while I gather up some new questions as well.
You sell 3 rinseless products at TRC. Rapid Rinseless Wash, Absolute, and O&R V9. Which one have you been picking up lately, and what makes you prefer it over the others? V9?
I think he's being sarcastic, saying they come out with a new version.
No,
Eddie's being silly Eddie.
Yeah.
He's doing the Eddie thing.
He's saying,
silly
which
boy.
one have you been picking up lately, and what makes you prefer it over the others? So this is going to bother people. I honestly don't care. I pick up, I'm serious, I have all 3 at my house, and every time I mix up a bucket of O&R rinseless.
You say O&R instinctively just because in your shop you used soda, it for years and years.
Like soda, right? It is,
the way people in the South call every type of soda or pop a Coke.
Right. So when I pick up a rinseless, or I make up a batch of rinseless, I change it up. Mm-hmm. I do one or the other every time. So, I just dumped out a bucket of O&R that I've been using for almost a month.
Yeah.
I filled it up the other night, and I filled it up with Absolute. And before I did the O&R, I did a bucket of Rapid Rinseless Wash. Because I got all 3 bottles, and I change them out interchangeably, because all 3 do exactly the same things that I need it to do. They all work 100% perfectly all the time with what I need a rinseless to do for me. So
that's how they wound up in our lineup and continue to be a part of it. I don't pick and choose, this one's better than that one. This one's, because O&R's always been the king. You got to remember, it was originally developed almost 20 years ago. And then having us help with the creation of Absolute and RRW, both were designed to compete with O&R. Yeah.
to do the things
Didn't
that
change
O&R
the fact that we
does.
loved O&R.
Yeah.
But I will say, to answer Eddie's question a different way, instead of necessarily the ones just we carry, what about the ones we tested before that we didn't carry
They
because...
didn't do the things that O&R does.
Well, to be more
Period.
specific, without naming names, you could probably list off some attributes of rinselesses that you don't care for, because I think that's what people are looking
There are
for.
some
usually.
rinselesses that are too clean that don't actively. They're not too clean, but they clean without lubricity almost.
Care to elaborate?
Well, you wipe it and it's not as slippery as you
Okay.
would normally expect. And there are other ones that spot that they do not encapsulate minerals, and if they cannot encapsulate minerals properly, then that means that they are not doing their job. The job of the rinseless is to encapsulate 100% of the particulates, thereby creating a polymeric effect so that what is left over is a polymer spot, not a mineral spot. And if it's leaving mineral spots, well, then it's not able to encapsulate at a high level, so it's going to leave a water spot.
Mm-hmm.
So there's there's a couple things that we look for in these products to make sure that they'll still work for what we need it to do in the situations that we need it to work in. And if it doesn't fit those, we don't carry it.
To put it another way, and still in layman's terms, basically, I've watched these guys test tons of different products, and when it came to rinselesses, the goal of any rinseless should be to result in a clean, shiny car, just like any cleaning product
Correct.
should.
They all can do that.
The manner in which they get there can differ, and that's where the preferences kick in. That's where these guys may look at, I didn't like the way that did that, or maybe there's a weird feeling you get as you're using it, or in the way it feels after you've used the product. That's where like the small differences really start to show themselves, and that's why we carry certain products and not other ones, even if those other ones do happen to be pretty popular amongst different groups of people. Yeah. It just wasn't for these guys. They just decided I didn't necessarily care for the way that did that.
You got to remember, Anthony and I look through things and we try to stress test, and then we also try to put it in the hands of someone who's never done this before.
Sure.
What would happen if we sold this to a customer who has never done this before? What are the potential problems they're going to run into?
Because first impressions can make or break a product, and it is hard when you hand something off that you know in the right hands is an amazing product, excellent product.
Yeah.
With more advanced stuff like coatings, you can kind of get away with that more like, oh, there's a skill issue here that needs to be addressed before you can really get the most out of this product.
Rinseless should
but
be
with a
exactly the same.
A rinseless should always be accessible at the base level, because that is a product you're going to use a lot.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, it's designed to replace the soap.
Yeah.
So if Anthony is going to teach his 2-year-old how to wash a car, he's got to do it in the simplest, easiest way possible without harming the child or the vehicle.
Yeah.
Ideally, yes.
The rinseless has to do that.
Yeah.
It has to be able to be so easy to use that anybody can do it and it's not going to harm the vehicle. If your rinseless can't live up to that, technically,
it's kind of a non-starter. At least
I'm not going to sell it.
for the guys in this room.
We're not going to accept it. So that's how we do it.
No, and I think that's fair. But that's one of those things where, like, I'm not afraid for us to go off on a topic because, frankly, I'm not getting a ton of detailing questions today. Boy, I'm trying. But rinseless and soap stuff, that's where it's at. That's what people always want to talk about. Now, here is Detailing Vibes 2006 with a good question.
Could I use rinseless wash for interior? What's your detailed ways to use it? Like, yeah, 256-1, any of them. It'll work. For lightly soiled vehicles, for something super dirty, you're going to need a little more. And when I mean dirty, I don't mean like a lot of dirt. If you have a vehicle with a lot of dirt, I recommend using rinseless first, because of the fact that you're going to get all that encapsulation. And what it's going to do is encapsulate the dirt so that it doesn't create mud. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you use an interior cleaner on something super dusty and dirty, you're going to create mud and you're going to push mud around, and then you're going to have to try and remove all that mud. And that's going to be a bunch of pain in the butt, right? So if you encapsulate all that dirt and all you're doing is pulling it and it's all getting absorbed up into your towels, you can go through multiple towels and you can wipe down an interior and get it clean. And then you can go into your deep clean and use your interior cleaner if you want. But it's amazing how much work the Rinseless will do on a very dusty, dirty interior. So Anthony has a friend who's a lineman for Idaho Power. I used to detail a lot of the Idaho Power trucks. All of them have a rubber floor, vinyl seat, plastic dash.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, when they'd come in to get detailed, was covered in a nice thick layer of dust, because these guys roll their windows down, they're driving down dirt roads, they're opening up they leave their door open or whatever because they're working on their computer. Wind blows, it just gets covered in dust. The easiest way to take care of that is with a rinseless wash, to dunk towels and wipe and rinse. And I did a landscaper's truck the other day. I showed him how to do it with rinseless, and he was like absolutely blown away how easy it was coming to clean that truck. And he was like, oh my gosh.
A lot of people still don't know.
Didn't even know there was a product
option.
like this that could exist.
Yeah,
so.
true. Very fair. Well, Carson Black, wonderful local
Anthony.
Carson here. Anthony.
2 questions for you. My Ultra Wheel and Body Brush wood handle is cracked. Does it have a warranty? Also, just ran out of Rupus polish. Try something new or stick with it. So we don't really have a warranty on the handle. I mean, how long have you had it for, Carson? I mean, has it been like a month? If it's been a month, then like, well, obviously we want to fix that. But if it's been like a year and a half, I don't think there's a warranty on it. As far as polishes go, it depends. If you have only used Rupes polish, then I think that there's plenty of others that you need to try. Even if it does work for you, just because I think it's good to experiment with different stuff. But yeah, it just depends, right? Like, have you tried?
By the store,
have you tried
some,
it? Yeah, have you tried Last Cut? Have you tried any of the Koch Chemie stuff? I mean, there's lots of options there. I mean, Rupes stuff is fantastic, but all of the compounds and polishes that we sell are pretty much best in class.
Yeah.
So we'll back any of them.
Yeah.
James says, can you use iron remover on ceramic coated on a ceramic? Yes, you can.
Yes.
100%.
All right.
Too Fresh says, I use Rinseless for everything, in and on the car. Also in my house. I even mop with it. Ooh, good. My wife looks at me like I'm crazy, but accepts it so she won't have to do it. LOL.
There you go.
Baseboard cleaning, right? Nothing like
That's your favorite
hot
move with
rinseless, baseboard cleaning to really clean those up and make them look brand new again. But yeah, no, rinseless is pretty much great around the house, vehicle, for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, when we first took over this building that the rag company is now in, my mom, my dad, myself, and John, we all worked to clean this place up. He got the ceilings in the warehouse, which were all covered in diesel soot. He took a genie lift. That was insane. But inside the offices, we were mopping the walls with O&R, because that was just the way to get rid of all the cobwebs, all the dust. For those who don't understand, this building had been sitting for like 4 or 5 years empty.
It was empty.
So it had its fair accumulation of just dust and stuff.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving along here, let's see.
All right.
I've
Next
got
up,
Josh.
Josh says, Levi, I had my 2-year-old spraying undressed and express on my paint yesterday. Ugh. Tough teaching an eager 2-year-old on safe washing techniques.
So one thing you could do, Josh, is you could either use distilled water, get them their very own little spray bottles, and just fill them with distilled water if you're looking to do something where they want to be out there helping you. My kids, I bought a kid's little helper's belt, and then I just got some shorty bottles, spray bottles at the grocery store, and filled them with distilled water, because 9 times out of 10, they're going to squirt it in their own mouth. And this way I didn't have to worry. But also because it was distilled water, I didn't have to worry about water spots. I didn't have to worry about stuff. But if I was washing the car, they wanted to come out and work with me. I put a couple towels in their pouch. I put the bottles. You can do a lot of stuff. It's just get creative with it. But I wouldn't let them touch your bottles of undressed and express, just for the safety's sake of it.
Nice.
They got sensitive skin.
Brent here saying, I'm giving this a like for Anthony joining horizontally and the overhead cam.
Yeah.
All we need now is foot cams.
Well,
we do not
need
need
rocking
that.
some Brooks. Dan and I got the Ghost Max. Anthony's got some Ghosts on. We're enjoying ourselves.
Which this is your momentary reminder. Please click the like button. And if you're not already, subscribe to the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel. Moving along, we have... Welcome, Anthony. How is your back?
Oh, man. So, as far as an update, I'll be honest with you guys. This has only ever gotten worse. for the last almost 3 months now, right? It's just gotten worse.
Progressively worse.
I think for my situation with a herniated disc or, and then this sciatica, I think for most people, like 90% of people probably resolve with this issue in probably 12 weeks or less.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I would imagine. For me, it's again, there's been no times of relief. There's been no signs of healing. It's just been one thing after another. And so back is not good.
Bad back. And honestly, my neck is now completely tweaked as well because I've been on my back so much.
Oh. I mean, we're talking what?
6 good weeks.
6 weeks,
Yeah.
but almost all day long, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I sleep on my back. I'm laying on my back. I get up and walk around. I try to do what I can for a period of time, but
you do tummy time for yourself?
I can't really even lay on my stomach anymore. Not really.
Boy.
So it's it's just slowly taking everything that I've ever thought was just a normal, your normal human function is just disappearing. So, basically several more weeks and we'll see if I end up getting surgery. And if surgery fixes this, then I should be on my feet immediately.
Yeah.
And I would probably at that point actually have the first bit of relief and being able to actually move around that I've had in 3.5 months, which is pretty crazy. So I guess my advice to everybody is don't take for granted the little things like
Whoa.
sitting and laying and walking. And if you can run, go run. If you can jump, you should jump. Enjoy all those things while you can, because literally it could be something super weird like this where it just all goes away and you go, wow, I miss being able to walk from here to there, right? It's kind of crazy. So anyways, I would say it's getting better, but it's not. That'd be a lie. And I'm also trying to stay positive. So it's just right now, nothing has gotten exponentially worse. So I'm pretty happy about that. But again, it's still a day by day thing.
That was a very nice comment from Dina here, noting he thinks you might have lost weight, but he thinks it's just the camera. You actually did lose weight.
Lost some weight.
Yep, I have lost 30. Oh man,
That's a lot.
30. Yeah, about 30 pounds. I was at the beginning. I don't even know. I think it was probably even up into April. I was still in the 240s, but I had gotten to 249 back in I think it was the OG trip. I was pretty heavy, and I think it was because I was on medication from the other issues that I had in the wintertime from getting that weird viral sickness thing. But yeah, I'm 219 right now, so pretty stoked on that. And
Good for you.
No, pain. Apparently, you lose weight when you're in pain. I didn't know that, right? So if you're ever struggling with weight loss,
right?
just
find
herniate a
something
disc.
So if I go stub my toe 150 times,
No,
you
Dane,
think I'll...
Dane, no, we got to break that back.
Oh,
man.
Yeah, Dane,
okay.
you got to fall down your hip.
Yeah.
Oh, I just have to. I have to roll those ankles
We need you to not just break your back.
Horribly.
We need you to blow out your back.
Yeah.
We need
Whoa.
there to be an actual.
Go out on your deck with your coffee mug and just keep
and
walking
just
off
fall
the
off
deck.
the edge. Yeah,
Then
right
land
onto
into
the
grass
asphalt.
and roll down and get
Oh my
wedged.
God.
Then maybe
Maybe
never know.
5 pounds.
you might. You never know.
I don't think that's worth it.
Yeah.
No. I have lost weight,
Oh,
and hopefully I'll continue to lose weight. I would like to be. This wasn't a weight loss challenge by any means. But
No.
I think I would have freaking won, right? If this was our cut, our UK cut, we should have started it. I would
should
have
have.
won.
You
If
would've
it
won
was an efficiency challenge, you would have won because whoever can lose the most weight while doing the least obvious physical activity,
Dude,
that you would have won that
Easy.
won.
easily.
Dang it! Next year, right? All right. So let's get some more questions.
Yes,
'cause,
let's
guys,
get some
I'm
real
out of here in
questions.
12 minutes because the deal is I have to beat the traffic on the
that's
way
right.
home
Yeah.
because I can't sit and drive in the traffic because then I just start yelling.
You tense
horrible
up.
things.
Your body
Yeah.
tenses back
Tense
up.
up.
So,
David Boyce.
Levi, I loved your video on your essential tools and supplies to wash interior and exterior of any car or truck. So informative. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. And then what did Al say about Anthony?
Oh, what's that?
That last one you had up there that you took down. It's all right. No worries.
Oh,
He was just talking. Anyway, next one.
okay. So next up, I've got a bunch of people talking about their methods for washing.
Wash the wheels in the regular right way every single time. Then rinseless. Freaking love rinseless. There you go.
And then talking about the benefits they experience.
David, Rinseless benefits me because I live in an apartment and no water hose. So yeah, Rinseless. So cool. There you go, David.
Mm-hmm.
Then Lucas, my heart belongs to Rinseless, but my head sometimes tells me shampoo with corrosion inhibitors. BH Auto Wash. There you go. That's a nice one.
All right. And then I got Spencer here.
Hey, Spencer B saying, I've been seeing Jamie the Cleaner spraying on and rinsing away panel prep after washing with traditional soaps. The idea of being to rinse away surfactants to reveal water behavior. Thoughts? You can get that same thing with just cleaning the surface with alcohol afterwards. So you could wipe it with alcohol and then rinse instead of spraying and rinsing.
Sure.
The wipe would probably get better behavior.
Yeah. Classic.
And Spencer Mason saying, howdy from the farm equipment, Spencer. What's up,
we
buddy?
have to divvy up between the pilot and the farm coder.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We've got my current exterior glass. Go ahead.
Victor saying, my current exterior glass washing method is 2-gallon bucket with a gallon absolute. Woo! At 256 to 1, an applicator and a clay scrubber soaking it in, wiping it down, windows, and dry with an FTW. There you go. Enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And David, Levi glass interior windows are always so challenged, especially smears and streaks. Appreciate your last video for essential tools and supplies. You're welcome. Yeah, you guys don't know this, I still struggle with streaks on glass.
It's rarely a perfect
It's only
finish.
for me on interiors do I struggle with
it's
streaks
interior
of
glass.
It's usually the front windshield, and that's it. But it just, I've gotten better about it, but there's still days where I go, I use my cleaner reach, my Stoner's easy reach.
It's a great tool.
And I get in there and I'm like, oh, I think this is perfect. Yeah. And then I back it out of my driveway and I look and I go, crap.
It looks
the
like
light
you never
catches
touched
it.
it.
Crap. I'm like, how is this so bad?
Yeah.
But it happens to all of us.
There we go. Matthew?
At the end of the ultimate guide to rinseless car washing, Levi teased a potential for part 2 for the interior. Any plans for that to still be created? Yes. But our entire studio is in shambles, ladies and gentlemen.
It's ripped
We've
apart
had
right now.
3 walls, a wall knocked out, 2 walls added. The flooring is completely pulled free. We've stacked all of that. The floor looks horrific underneath after pulling all that tile after 4 years.
It looks like another set of Swiss tracks, except in this case, the Swiss tracks is dirt colored because it's literally just dirt in the shape of a Swiss track.
I would love to, probably when the new studio is built. So you're going to have to be patient.
Yeah. It will come, though. Give it time.
Anthony, do you dilute Magic Wheel Cleaner also does undressed remove tire browning? So as far as Magic Wheel Cleaner goes, no, not really. I've diluted it a couple times to where I've just simply used half a bottle and thought, well, I kind of want to get a little bit more out of this, so I've just cut it with water. It's totally fine, still works. But undressed, does it remove tire browning? It does remove tire browning. Undressed it's exactly what it's for. It's for cleaning a tire, removing old dressings, breaking down any type of silicone or anything like that, and it does a good job. So, but yeah, Magic Wheel Cleaner does not necessarily remove tire browning though, so that's when you do want to have a product like Undressed if you're going down that path.
Okay.
Further details says, any chance of rapid rinseless wash being available in the 5-liter jugs in the future? Yes, I imagine so. I imagine it will be eventually when enough demand is there.
The clay lube dilution would probably be just half that.
128
to 1.
Yeah.
You could even do 64 to 1 if you want to play it safe. You can. So.
And I got
And
EC.
again, EC being amazed that Absolute and Direct Sun 64 to 1 is wild at the car show. It did God's work on the hot panels. Yeah, that came out of the fact that when we were at Monterey and we were wiping down cars at Monterey, we had Epic and we had paint gloss and we had a tester
Of Absolute.
Yeah. And we whipped that Absolute out and we wiped down every single one of those cars that were on the tarmac in the middle of a windstorm from the golf course next door, and it was a super fine, silty, sandy dust that landed on all these cars going through the auction line. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars worth of vehicles, and some cars being $1 million vehicles and higher. And we mixed up a bucket of Rinseless of Absolute, and it was insane. And we really did mix it heavy. because we put in some spray bottles and stuff. Because at that point the cars were going so quick, one of us had to rinse it, and then the other one had to dry it, and that was just what we could get done.
Yeah.
But it was amazing how well it worked in that situation.
And I've got some questions here for Anthony before he goes at the halfway point.
This stupid mic arm, Dane.
Just pointed at your face. There you go.
It's it keeps falling. It's very.
You know what? It's just going to rest on your chest.
No, Dane,
Right.
it's very
Okay.
limp. All right, so here we go. Detailing Vibes 2006 says, Anthony, what are the new detailing products you've been using on your personal cars?
Although he's asking new, so
Yeah,
you've been
really
testing some
good.
stuff,
But-
but
I
talk
haven't.
about
Trust, so right now, I'm not in full detailing shape. Obviously,
he actually hasn't been.
So I've been doing a ton of detailing, but I have been doing some just light testing of certain things. Some of the stuff has been testing here at TRC. But if you're referring to what I think you're referring to, I have been playing with some of the Alchemist brand. I've been using that at home when I can, and it's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And nice from Masters of the Shine Detailing. Yo, yo, yo. And what's up, everyone?
Ulysses?
Thank you.
Great to see Anthony back.
Glad to be laying here.
And, here's another one for Anthony.
Anthony, of the three, which will give me the most gloss? Sterna gloss, enhanced polish, or protective glaze, or parlous sealant? Oh man. So not the polish. Not Scara, right?
Yeah.
Scara, yeah, not Scara. Glacier. It's pretty good stuff. But again, it's filler. It is a true glaze. I mean, but Parla has the deepening effect that it has on paint, so it has that darkening effect once it hits something of darker color, like black cars, you'll see it on, red cars, you'll see it on, blue cars. It has that effect where you spray it, and it's almost an immediate difference in the kind of darkening and just making that color pop even more. So
Yeah.
I'd probably say Parla would probably give you the most gloss, realistically.
Assuming...
It would be like I would do a Parla application, and then the following wash, like a week or 2 weeks later, that's when I would top it off with either Silky, or I would top it off with Glatt.
Mm-hmm.
And either one would be awesome.
Yeah, because gloss is depth. So,
Me and
if
goth.
that's what you're looking for, the darkening effect gives you that depth
You
you're
need that
looking
gloss.
for. So
That goth.
it's just a
You
simple way.
need
Back
that
is
gloth.
broken. Spinal.
Final.
Okay.
Next question. Here.
I
Detailing vibes.
slammed it in the car door.
Anthony's
somebody will get
1500 drying towel is the bomb. Order 3 more to dry all the personal vehicles.
Yeah. I have two, and I love using them.
1500, man, it's killer. I think that a lot of people are happy with the gauntlets, right? Awesome. A lot of people are happy with the liquidators. Perfect. Whatever works for you. But I think you should have at least one 1500 in your arsenal, because there will be jobs or there will be details that you'll do where you just wish you had a little bit more something out of the towel. And it could be that, Suburban that you do. It could be the Yukon XL. It could be a massive 3500 Dodge Ram or something, but you'll grab that 1500, you'll start using it, and you'll go, oh my God, I could dry another 2 trucks with this. It's pretty cool.
All right. I like this one because I know he meant to say edgeless, but it's funny imagining eggless. Love the eggless pearl for leveling ceramics. I go through those like hotcakes. And the 365 is great for compound and polish removal. But what is your second choice for polish removal?
Lately, mine's been the Ultra XL.
I mean, that's
what I've been
essentially a
using.
pearl. So
It's a pearl weave. It doesn't have nearly the bite of the 365, but for like what you're saying with the edgeless pearl, that's what that is.
yeah.
You've got the Ultra XL is a 1616 pearl weave, and man, I
Glides.
You love it. You're
I've
all
burned
about
through like 4 boxes this year so far.
But at
I
the
know,
same
and
time,
I
200
compared to
towels.
Well, no,
And all I have to do is wash 'em.
nobody's telling Levi to wash them.
Yeah.
Nobody, so he's just
No, I'm just-
he's just
More.
ripping,
More.
he's ragging, and
Yeah.
then he's bagging them in the trash can. We're like,
Oh,
Levi, reuse the towels. But for what it's worth, I'm kind of the same way with my 12 by 12 ribbon rags, just the standard ones.
Yeah.
I just treat them like shop towels. It's not good. Like, I do know that I should be washing them and keeping them. It's just, I'll use them for something, and then I throw them onto the shelf, and I go, oh, I need to pick up something nasty. And I use that, and then I go, oh, it's not worth washing. I just throw it away. But anyways.
Now, I got one last comment here before we go to our halftime. But they want to know, David here, does the Anthony face zoom still work in the new format? I'm sure that Nick could help us answer.
We can't even see. We used to normally be able to see what the camera angles were. Now we can't even see it.
They're seeing the feed of my iPad on the screens now, so they don't actually know what's going on with Anthony's face. But I'm just going to assume it's very close.
Maybe not.
It's right up. I can see it through the control room
It's up
window,
in his business.
and it is currently on his right cheek. They're moving it right now.
All
Zooming
right.
out to his face. They had it on his nostrils.
So on that note, let's kick it out here. Any last words? That sounds final. Any last things you'd like to say before we take our little momentary break and you get home ahead of traffic?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. I'm glad I got to be here. It's very nice to get out of the house. Obviously, I don't want to be at my house anymore. I'm sick of my house, sick of TV. I'm sick of my phone. I miss people. I miss you guys. I miss everybody watching here.
We miss
this
you
is
too.
This is what feels like home to me, and this is what I enjoy doing most. And so, just being able to lay here has been a really good time. But yeah, I do got to beat traffic. Otherwise, I'm gonna be in some serious pain. So as always, if you guys have been enjoying this Q&A, please make sure to give them a big thumbs up. And in the meantime, we're going to go get some snacks. We're going to go get some drinks. And we are going to see you here. Well, they're going to see you here on the second half of Q&A Thursday. So we'll see you soon.
See you in a few. Hello, and welcome back to the second half of Q&A Thursday here at the Rag Company Podcast YouTube channel. Man, if you haven't hit that like button already, what are you doing? Go ahead and just click that, please.
Yeah, those of you that tuned in for this second half, you missed the first half where we had Anthony Fisher in studio.
He was right here.
Yeah, it was a real thing. But we're back, though, for the second half, answering your questions, answering your detailed questions. But I wanted to say something I said at the beginning of the last hour.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't, please check the ragcompany.com and look at the events page.
Absolutely.
We've got an events tab. And that events tab tells you when we're having things here at the Rag Company. And so, this summer, some of the things you missed was we had a PNS Legend coding training happening at the store. We did that at the end of May. And then first week of June, we had Diamond Protech and Flex doing a Diamond Protech training and a Flex polishers training happening in the store.
Yeah.
And then yesterday we had an Arlon training, or 2 days ago, we had Arlon, the vinyl manufacturer, here to do a training through Fellers. And coming up, that you guys can go, we've still got some spots available. Those of you wondering about a PPF, you can click on there. We've got the Avery Dennison PPF training happening coming up in just under 3 weeks. So make sure you sign up. It's about $1,200, but you're going to get 3 days, 2 to 3 days of instruction time. You're going to get a full roll of film upon completion of the class of your choice of PPF film. So whether it's their Supreme Gloss, Satin, or even their new Noir, the black PPF, you get a free roll of film plus a tool bag and all the tools to get started doing PPF out of your garage if you want, or even out of your business. So huge opportunity. We haven't had that class for nearly 2 years. So for those of you that missed the last class that we had in 2022, it's back. Sign up today if you've been interested in doing PPF. And if you do sign up for the class, I'm going to throw this out even more. If you do decide to sign up for the class, email me, levi@theragcompany.com, and I will give you the link for the Home to Suites.
Oh, the good rate.
So you can stay at the Home to Suites. It's not free. You got to
No.
pay for it, but we'll give you our discounted corporate link
It's heavily discounted.
for those that actively attend. So you got to show me
Yeah.
proof that you paid for the class, that you're attending the class, all that stuff. And I will double check with the roster to make sure. But this way you can stay at the Fabulous Home to Suites. We'll sweeten the pot a little bit.
It's
Maybe
nice.
drum up some
Real nice.
some hangout time. So
Yeah.
that's coming up. But I just wanted you guys to know that because that's where we're gonna be posting stuff. So for those of you that have been like, man, when are you doing a detail training? When are you doing this? When are you doing that? That's what we're trying to do. We've even got a car show coming up that same week,
We just had one too.
yeah,
thanks to Sydney.
we had a car show, but we're having a car show here on the property.
Oh yeah, that's
the
right.
same week that the class is happening, the
Yeah.
PPF class is happening. So Toy Box will be open, MVP will be open.
There's stuff to see, people to
It's
talk
gonna be a good
to,
time.
things to do.
So yeah, car show on the property. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. So just wanted to get that out there. We've still got to add that to the events page
Of course. And I mentioned this at the beginning of the first half of today's show, but I do want to bring it up again. Levi and I had a fantastic conversation with Dylan von Kleist. And if you're not familiar with Dylan von Kleist, you ought to take a moment to listen to the interview we did with him. Q&As are 2 hours, but this is part of our new main show format, so it's about an hour and 20 minutes or so. And it's just chock full of really interesting stories about kind of like detailing back in the 90s and early 2000s all the way up to now, and just kind of the evolution of that whole experience of being there, what it was like, the different kinds of issues you might run into and how they were handled, resolved, and a lot of interesting companies that you're probably very familiar with now that he was a part of along the way. So it's definitely worth checking out. And
fascinating.
I'm biased because I thought we did a really good job on it, and I was super
I think
excited.
It was great. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. You can listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts. But please, that new episode is out. We've also recorded the next coming episode.
Yes.
So please, please, please. We know you guys, it's been kind of crazy with all the updates that have been happening, but we're finally getting back into the groove.
Yeah.
So the two things that are done is obviously our podcast studio. So that is ready to rock and roll. So we're going to be turning out some new episodes. The podcast is going to be pre-recorded, not live.
For the main show.
For the main podcast main show. But Q&A Thursday will continue to be like this, live. Ask your questions, get them in there so we can get them answered for you guys. And we really appreciate y'all tuning in. Dane, let's get into some questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Just wanted to point out a couple people who definitely did watch it, saying they loved it, so that's good to hear.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, guys. And we got Josh McKay here.
Follow up to the undressed removing browning. Are these tires that just brown more? I have Hankook Kinergies with 2,000 miles on them and the browning doesn't go away. No, it's just the way rubber happens to deal with the exterior elements. You've also got to remember that most people don't think about this. Your tires heat up. They heat up so much. They get so hot that it changes that composition when they get hot. And so when they shrink back down, there's a lot of different things that happen chemically to the tires.
Stuff gets in them while they're moving, and then as they slow down, that stuff gets trapped in there.
Yep. The other thing is you also got to remember some of that stuff is just everything that comes off the brakes, everything that comes off the road, everything that comes off of the, just off the car in front of you. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that gets on your tires and wheels. And so if you imagine how dirty your wheels get, your tires are even more grabby and even more sticky than the wheels. And they're getting all that stuff too. They're just holding on to it a lot longer.
Unless something is horribly wrong, your wheels aren't the thing making contact with the road.
Yeah.
It's your tires. And I don't know if you've seen the road lately where you are, but I promise you, it's a lot of things.
We're in chip
Clean
seal season.
is not one of them.
Yeah, it's chip seal season right now in Boise. So
dusty, dirty. Oof.
Yeah, so no, I haven't found a tire that doesn't brown. We'll just say that. All tires brown. Unless they're the old school white actual tires, because rubber naturally is white. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Now, I like this. The Slizzard Lizard answering my title, my spicy title for today's episode as a way to get people interested. Try and get more people to click
Foaming
on it.
soap versus rinseless, worth the extra time. Was this already covered? I missed most of the first half. No,
that was my engagement.
Yeah, it's mostly just to get you in. We've been tricking you, but no.
But like we did talk about it.
No, we talked about Rinseless. We talked about the types of Rinseless we like.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about why we didn't like certain Rinselesses or why we don't use certain other Rinselesses, and the reasons for that. So the reason we carry the 3 Rinselesses we have is those are the 3 that have been fully vetted by Anthony and I.
Yeah.
We've vetted close to 20 different Rinselesses in the industry over the last decade. There are only 3 that match the qualifications that we want within a Rinseless.
And now there's a bunch of new ones out there, which obviously you'll be testing some of those too.
Yeah, there's a bunch more, and there's new ones coming, and this is a great time to be a detailer.
Oh, choices are endless.
I mean, it's crazy. So we've talked about that, but yeah, and then we've talked about how to use Rinseless on the interior and best practices of that. Some people have said how to use it on glass and how to use them to take care of dust and debris on car shows and things like that. So there's a lot of different things that we talked about on the first one. So
now to the point though, like as far as how I framed it as like, oh, if you're using soap, are you wasting your time versus doing rinseless? Because effectively you just want a clean car. That's the goal. Rinseless is one less step in the process, saves you time. If you're doing like a volume play and you're moving through a lot of cars, rinseless makes a ton of sense and you're still getting a good result. But like soap, if you're an individual, I would argue soap, if you want to do that, that's where it makes sense. But if you're in like a volume shop and you're trying to do high quality work, but you need to get through a lot of cars, soap doesn't always make the most sense if they're not all completely like just destroyed.
Yeah,
filthy.
well, what most people don't realize is when I had my shop, one thing we did was through my partners, they created a rinseless truck for the dealerships. And we staffed it with some 18-year-old kids, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. They're football players at Eagle High School. And we had a 2500 Silverado with about 250,000 miles on it. We put a 250-gallon water tank in the back.
Like a big gem.
Big, huge one. Filled that up from the garden hose. Took 1 gallon of O&R and poured it in there. Connected it to a pressure washer. Had 2 buckets filled with about 6 different chamois shoved in there. That was filled with O&R as well. The buckets had O&R in them. And those boys would pile in that extended cab pickup, and they would hit a dealership, and they would wash 100 cars a night. And we're talking about dealership cars. They're just sitting on the lot. So they'd unravel their hose. One would go and just start spraying down cars. They're just washing dust off.
Yeah.
So they would rinse the dust off the cars, and then they would literally, the other kids would come back with chamois and dry the cars. But they would use rinseless for this. They would charge $2, $3 a car to wash these. So they'd hit that dealership, they'd knock out 100 cars, and there'd be 5 of them. They make $300. They'd get it done in less than an hour and a half. They'd go to the next dealership. They'd do the same thing. They all did these after school. They started making close to $6-7 grand a week for
it's
3 days worth of work between 10 kids.
Yeah.
And they would alternate days, but they would basically go through 250 gallons of water and a gallon of O&R every evening.
Yeah. Well, and here's a great thought exercise.
And they do it 3 days a week.
To extend off of that, because that's a great point. Imagine, this is where it really counts, if you were to try and do the exact same thing, but instead of rinseless, you're using soap and water.
Or
how much more water you would go through, and how much more time you would spend on the extra steps.
But here's the thing, Dane. Their competition were dudes that were just filling trucks with water.
Right.
And spraying
and they just zap it with water.
They were just rinsing them off.
The bar is underground.
So
it's
the boys,
so low.
Yeah, the boys were literally going like, look, we're not going to scratch up your cars. We're not going to hurt the cars because we're actually putting a product that's going to be safer to remove all that dirt and debris off of. And they go, and the cars would look better.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's ultimately the dealership isn't going to care how you got the result as long as you got a decent looking result and you didn't cost them money somehow and you didn't damage anything at the end of the day. But no, that's an awesome idea. So if anybody's out there looking for like, what could I do? That's still a viable option, I think.
Dealerships like, hey, we'll wash some cars. What are you paying right now? And you know, they had uphill battle. There's guys that were, at the time, and we're talking 10 years ago, these kids were doing it for, they were other companies were doing for $1.50 a car.
Yeah.
And they're walking in going, hey, we'd charge $2 a car, and the lots are kind of like, well, I mean, that's 50 cents and I got 50 cars, that's a little more money than I want to spend, or I've got 100 cars and you're 50 cents more. Yeah. Like that's and I got to do this every week.
But a clean car is the difference between selling that car and not selling that car.
And once they got in and they said, let us do it, let us get it done. Plus, the boys looked better because they were clean-cut youths compared to what is traditionally very. Some of these guys were getting folks off the street to come just just come wash some cars.
Which, if you got the work ethic,
that's fine. They were
no shade there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I mean, the vision of the business. The boys were coming in T-shirts and hats. They all matched. They're all
presenting like a unified front.
They presented much better than the traditional guys that would wash dealership cars. So anyway.
Well, this led to some kind of interesting discussion going on here in the chat while we were talking about that. So I like that. But
so I like cheese doodles.
He was laughing because, I was baited. But I like it because I've never seen Slizzard in here before.
No, that was great.
Thank you for joining us.
Cheese Doodle. I don't like how everyone hates on Optimum No Rinse now on YouTube. I will say it bothers me because I think some people just don't understand history.
I think it's just sport for some people.
And I think some people it is. I think they're doing it for views, and that's fine. And they want to do it because they want people to discuss, but you got to remember this was developed nearly 20 years ago, and it really didn't get noticeably popular for 10 years.
You were using it in your shop before we ever made any videos about it, but I felt like when we were making videos about it, people can look back on our channel, it felt like we, next to Ivan, were the only ones putting videos out there about rinseless washing stuff with any kind of regularity.
No, we got so much hate back then. But the point is...
And it was the only product we sold for a while. It was the first product we ever sold.
It was 10 years. It'd been out almost 10 years, and the product, people were like, this is...
Chemical product for those who are keeping track.
But they were looking at that, and they were going, why would you even carry something like this? Is crazy. And now to look and go, wow, there's like 30 different rinseless washes on the market. In the last 10 years, and everybody,
people actually like this.
Everybody thinks theirs is better than the other. I love it. I think it's great.
It's
because
a good
of the
problem.
fact if O&R hadn't come out, none of you would be having this. None of you would have this conversation, or you wouldn't go, "Oh man, I really like this product to do that." And that's the nice thing. There are elements of all the products in all the new variations of different products out there for rinseless.
It's like the master who's excited that his students are finally trying to surpass him.
Exactly.
Whether they do or not is another matter, but at least they're trying.
Yeah.
So that counts 100%. For a lot.
And I will say this, as many chemists as I've spoken to in the industry, rinseless has always been one of the most difficult products to create. And every single person and chemist I've spoken with has said, I don't understand how Dr. G did it. The man is a genius.
Yeah.
So say what you will. Say, have the hate or the remarks you want to say about Dr. G and rinseless and how you may not like O&R, but you love this rinseless or XYZ rinseless.
We wouldn't have one without the other.
You wouldn't have had it if he hadn't developed it and come out with it.
No, that's great. And Ethan, to your point, yes, competition breeds quality. I think there's a lot of truth to that. Sometimes it just kind of creates a mess, but I think more often than not, it does force people to step their game up, and I do like to see that. So, no, you're absolutely right.
And then he says, Slizzard.
Oh, let's start with his first comment, and then I'll do a second.
Sounds like you guys stand behind the products you have in the store. I like to hear that. Have you had any products you have removed from the store due to a change in quality, formula, et cetera? Yeah, so... we have. So that's the biggest thing. Most people don't realize is there are certain, when we bring on like a chemical brand, that takes us up to 2 years sometimes to fully vet that company top to bottom.
From the time we first show interest to the time it ends up on our shelves.
Yeah,
it can be a while.
There are probably distributors out there that carry products and they just call them, hey, I want to get in on there. I want to send me these samples. Okay, they're good. And they're selling them within 3 to 6 months of getting a brand and testing a brand.
That's specific to brands. When
Yeah.
a brand we already trust and know
Yeah,
brings
it's
out a new
different.
product, we're usually a little faster on that.
Yeah, but to bring in a new brand, we do our due diligence. We learn every single thing and facet of the company. We go through everything, and it takes up to 2 years of testing products, checking feedback, checking their everything. Most people don't realize that at all.
No.
They don't know that. So they
just assume you followed the money.
They just
and that's
assume
it.
that we grabbed something off the shelf, but they don't know we've been talking to this company and visiting their facility and doing all this stuff and spending that time. So
It's hard to hype a product that sucks. So why would you try?
yeah, so Anthony and I try to do our due diligence and learn every single thing about that product so that when we create content for you, videos, all this stuff, we know what we're talking about. We have 2 years sometimes of product knowledge and testing behind us on that product. When we are developing a product with one of our partners, or helping assist in the development, because where we are placed in that world, we are able to help affect the growth and trajectory of that product if it's something that we fully stand behind. There are products that we look for to fill a need, a want, or a necessity in the detailing sphere. If it doesn't fit in any of those, then we usually don't bring it on. But if it doesn't perform and fit in the way we want it to, we don't bring that one on either. Like, it's that simple. So if we test a product line, we get a product line sent to us, and we test 5 out of the 7 products they sent us, and 5 of them really suck, and there's only really one good product on there, there's a chance we may just bring on that one product to carry and sell.
Yeah.
But we will have discussions with that company and say, look, man, you got something close, but we'd really like it if this, and this was able to be changed. And sometimes we've been fortunate the person goes, holy cow, thank you. Okay, well, let me see what I can do to fix that. I've been having that problem forever, but I'm glad you said it because now I can get this fixed. Or they just say, I don't know, thanks, but I think there's nothing wrong with it.
Different people
And we
have
go,
different
okay, well,
takeaways.
it doesn't work for us. And if it doesn't work for us, it's not going to work for our customers.
But on that front, that was something I really did want to point out is like, out of just a general sense of wanting things to improve overall. And yes, it's steered from a sense of like what you like, because that's what we all know best is our own personal preferences. So when you're talking to somebody about a given product, you're trying to think of a casual user, but you're also thinking of how you like to use a product. And when you're giving that feedback, you're actually giving them something they can go back and do something with, as opposed to, it sucks. Because you see some people just throw out just a casual, like, It's like, well, can you give me more than that? Because if I'm genuinely invested in, imagine I'm a chemical manufacturer, I'm like, I want to make something good, and I'm hearing that somebody doesn't like it, I'm not going to leave that alone at just like, oh, you didn't like it? No, tell me why you didn't like it so I can learn, is it a personal taste thing that just you didn't like it because of something super specific that I find doesn't impact 90% of the customers I'm trying to reach? Or is it something that's like a core issue that's going to affect my ability to offer a good product to the greater market?
Yeah.
And as a chemical manufacturer, I would want to know that.
Yeah.
I would want to have that feedback. Like, it may suck to have somebody tell you they don't like your stuff, but if they're doing it in the spirit of trying to help you as opposed to just being dismissive or rude, that goes a long way. And we always try and approach it that way. That's not something we're going to give people a hard time about. If they bring something to the table, they have the guts to make a product and put it out there, obviously give them the time of day and talk to them about it. Don't just leave it at, this sucks.
Yeah.
Because there's too much of that these days.
No, yeah, and that's always the hard part. But no, it is about standing behind everything that we carry. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
We don't carry it if it doesn't pass through our testing that Anthony and I set forth. So,
and boy, some fun questions coming up here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to that list we had going there, though. That was good. Cheese Doodle talking, and Mike here. Oh, Mike with the tough questions.
Mike Zupana, or Zupa knows. What do we call them? Zupas. Do you consider detail sprays and waterless washes interchangeable? Which one would you rather have if just one? Yes and no. Waterless washes, I feel, are more clean and less slick. So a detail spray is going to provide more anti-static behavior and some light protection or some color change in the sense of it's going to have a darkening effect or a depth change or a glossifying effect, where most rinseless washes are only waterless washes are only trying to remove particulates from the surface.
And for those,
So
because
more encapsulators, less glossifiers.
Yeah, I was going to point out for like Slizzard here, who says
Yeah.
he's pretty new to this stuff. To understand, you're going to hear these terms. People confuse them a lot when they're newer to detailing. Rinseless versus waterless wash.
Rinseless, you have to mix in a bucket with water. Waterless,
Like soap.
Yeah, waterless is what's in the bottle.
Yeah, it's like a super powered detail
Yeah.
spray.
Yep.
But
But
you can use it.
not
But
even that.
that's not even the right
it's
way,
It's
yeah.
a cleaning. It's a car wash in a
It's
bottle.
intended
Is what I
to
try
clean.
to remind people.
But it usually doesn't have protective
Correct.
qualities unless otherwise stated on the
Yep,
bottle.
100%.
So,
All
there
right.
you go.
Cheese Doodle says I don't do rinseless frequently, but I use Optimum No Rinse for a lot of other purposes, and it works amazing. Try it on the car. And then who else you want to do there?
Yeah, I got Slizzard as well.
Slizzard saying glad to be here, fellas. Newer into the detail stuff, but enjoying the plethora of information I've been finding through YouTube alone. Awesome. Well, enjoy it. Have fun.
Please make the show a regular thing for yourself.
We do this
Ask
every
questions.
Thursday, and we've been doing it for years
and years now. But
Yeah.
it's every Thursday at 2:00 Mountain Time. That's
Yep.
our time. So if you're looking for a place to drop by at that time, we'll be here. And if we're not, we'll try and give people a heads
Yeah.
up. Also, wanted to say the dealership idea with the Rinseless was awesome.
Yeah, it's a great little business that can be started pretty simply.
There we go.
Rojo. Thanks for a great Q&A. Just a quick question regarding the Rupes pads. I already have a yellow wool. Where or when does the new cyan intermediate pad come in handy? I used it last night on this little red GTO I've been working on. It's not available for sale yet, but it is available when you buy the new polisher. It's kind of it sits kind of right in the middle of the blue wool and the yellow wool, or the blue foam and the yellow foam. It's basically what it is. It's just kind of it's still a little abrasive, but it's also a good finishing pad. So
Then Jeff C. with a controversial statement.
every single rinseless on the market is standing on O&R and TRC's shoulders. Jeff, I would agree with that.
I will say, Jeff, I appreciate that, but even I know better. There were other channels.
There were
obviously,
other
posting
channels.
stuff, and he acknowledges as
Yeah.
well that Ivan, during his OPT
Yeah.
days, was posting about it because that was one of the first things we did. The first personality we brought into the fold with us in our videos, besides you, obviously, was Ivan.
Yeah, the Junkman wasn't
And Junkman was
he didn't
obviously
believe in rinseless.
No, he was a
He
tough
thought
cookie.
he thought it was weird. He wanted to use
Yeah.
soap and water all day long.
Yeah,
And he
which
thought
we
we were
did.
crazy.
We did a bunch of videos with Junkman first, obviously, but the first personality besides Junkman, I guess the way to look at it, was Ivan then.
Yep.
So that was kind of where it started. If you look at our old videos, you'll see all that
Yeah.
stuff. But and then Joey making it tough, that's a bit of a stretch. So like just acknowledging like there were other players involved, but I mean we did a lot to talk about it when it felt like we were the only ones
We were the
making
only
a
ones
point to
talking
speak
about
up
it
about it. Others
for
said
years.
things, but they didn't really make it a thing.
No, it was never us. It wasn't never part of. We were part of that. It was the other people were doing other stuff,
Yeah.
but we were the ones that were always pushing rinseless.
I feel like if anybody was strong on the rinseless,
Funny, PNS when they first came to visit us, they taught us how to use Pearl in a rinseless format because they assumed we only liked rinseless washing.
Oh, yeah. No, some folks, because that was something we talked about a lot, they just assumed that we hated other stuff. It's like,
Yep.
that's not true.
Yep.
We just
So-
happened to talk about Or like, remember Gary Dean's infinite use detail juice,
Yep.
things like
Yeah,
that.
Gary
like,
Dean.
definitely
Yep.
popularized that method of doing
Yeah,
that
he used,
stuff. So
used to
credit
use
to him
Rag
for
Company
that.
towels for
Yeah.
all those sessions.
Yeah, no, those awesome green and purples.
Yep.
we did provide some there. Let's see. We've got just finished our RW wash on his mom's
Nice.
car.
Enjoy that, Ethan. Hope
Yeah.
your mom loved it.
And then let's see, next up. Oh, you want to talk about how the Grand Ambassadors are doing?
They've been doing great.
And I would say, yeah, I've been seeing them pop up all over the place. I like that in this case, we were trying something a little different this time around in terms of people who were selected. A lot more mobile detailers
Yeah,
this
good
time
group.
around
Good
is
group
something
of
Anthony was talking about.
detailers there.
So,
So.
yeah. And Eddie is amongst those as well, because I know he's watching. So yes, Eddie,
Yep.
I acknowledged. You were in the GBs. You were in there. Yeah. Oh, this is fun. Cheese Doodle. Would you guys ever carry Adams?
So we've got a unique relationship with Adams in the sense that we have been competitors for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Dylan talks about that in our
you hear
interview
about it in
with
Dylan.
him on this channel.
Adam Patali now lives here in Boise.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have seen him on our shows a couple times. He was at TRCMA. So we jokingly refer to him as Uncle Adam because he just shows up. Sometimes he brings pizzas. Sometimes he's just here to borrow something or wash a truck or whatever. But he also bought a car wash less than a mile away down the street here, about 2 miles away down the road. And so he stops by our storefront all the time to pick up a couple things, buy an ego blower or get a new pressure washer or something. He's always stopping by the store. So our storefront now, our physical storefront that you have to walk into to purchase from or go to the website, mvpboise.com. They sell some Adams products out of the storefront.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as to the ragcompany.com ever selling Adams products, never say never, but in this time right now, we don't have any future plans on the books.
I'll put it this way. Our relationship with Adam, the person,
our relationship
is a thing,
awesome.
but our relationship with Adams, the products and the company, it's neither here nor there.
No.
It's the guy. He shows up, so people assume
But we're all good friends
all
with
the
each
other
other.
stuff
That's the other
follows.
thing most people don't realize is behind the scenes, a lot of us in the chemical and companies and all this stuff, we're all friends.
People know each other.
People think that we get like, oh, I'm team this or I'm
it's like
team
turf
that.
wars.
No,
gang
man,
warfare.
like everybody gets along. Like, and we all talk about stuff, So, but that's how it works. One of my favorite nights of my life.
Most people get along.
Most people get along, but
some folks are a little.
One of my
rougher around
best
the
nights
edges.
of my life ever was
Yeah.
being able to have dinner with Adam Patali from Adams Polishes, Jeremy Stevens of Shine Supply, Phil Yu from Detailer's Domain,
Was Stoops there?
Matt Mormon of Obsessed Garage,
Of course.
Man Lung, who's a detailer out of Scottsdale, I think, Arizona, or San Diego. He moves back and forth. And then myself and we had one more person that went with us.
But it wasn't Michael Stoops.
It wasn't Michael Stoops. But anyway, that night we all went and had dinner together and we all kind of talked shop and told our stories of how we kind of gotten into the industry. Phenomenal evening. Adam paid for the whole thing for dinner. It's the first time I actually physically got to spend time with Adam and meet Adam. And I was like blown away. I was like,
It left
wow,
a good impression.
that was awesome. And ever since then, we've been really good friends. And he can text me and I text him. And I mean, it's just so never say never, but not at this moment.
No, that's fair.
Slizzard, thanks for the info, guys. Keep up the good work. And the vetting process sounds super legit. We'll be ordering some products shortly. Thank you, man. Welcome.
Yeah, much appreciated. We really do appreciate that.
And Cheese Doodle, or Franco replying to Cheese Doodle, Ophelia, I love still, O&R, never stop. Just got to remember, everyone has their opinion, and you take the ones you don't like with a grain of salt. Yeah, and I think that's the hard part. Most people don't think about or put into perspective or play. When I started in this industry, the only person you had to talk to help you through this world of navigating products was the person on the truck.
The
that
chemical guy.
That would show up at your shop or your workplace, and he had a bunch of products on his truck, and you would ask him what those products were like, and he would go, I don't know. I could call them and find out. Or I could send an email to them and hopefully get a response for you by next week.
Yeah.
That was really all you had.
Mm-hmm. And
Honestly.
your guy was Tom, who now runs Buff.
Yeah, that was, you got to remember, that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And 20 years ago, we just started getting social media.
Mm-hmm.
We just had gotten MySpace. We didn't even have Facebook yet.
Yeah, Facebook
There was no
another
Instagram.
year or two around the corner.
You only had forums. And again, that's why I say you guys got to listen to the history that Dylan talks about.
We cover
You
all
got to
of this.
see where this world came from. So the fact that we've got the ability now to just Google search a product and you get every review, you get 15 different videos on how to use a product and how to do it the way you want from multiple different sources on one product. Or you get not only those, but then you get the other 20 other rinseless products or the 20 other detailed products in that spectrum from other companies and other people showing you how to use it. I mean, it's an information overload.
To kind of point out that thing in the Dylan von Kleist episode we did in the main show here on the channel. Imagine if all the people who are like used to watching YouTube videos of all this stuff now, imagine if their only way to like see and test these products was to go to swap meets like he was doing and to experience it that way. It would probably change a lot of opinions that people had to be able to just go and see it. Well, have to go to the effort of having to drive somewhere, go to a market, push your way through a crowd of people all looking at this stuff and make a calculation on your own part. Okay, is this guy selling snake oil or is this something worth my time? It's just a different world.
Yep, totally different. So Cheese Doodle says, I don't do a lot of rinseless washes frequently. Oh, we already read that one.
Oh, I love this.
Joey, Anthony, you can come to my house and we can watch She-Hulk. It's a good one.
And let's see. Oh, no. Somebody said Pan's YouTube got hacked. What? Okay. Interesting.
Cool.
Anyway, we've got Ethan here.
Whatever happened with the other new Opti products? Didn't they have an interior cleaner coming out with some others? They did. We tested the interior cleaner. And as of right now, it's available on their website. You can go to Optimum and you can buy it. It did not hit the spots that Anthony and I set forth for an interior cleaner. So, again, like we said, didn't pass our testing. It's not something we're going to bring on. So, unless it gets changed. So, as of right now, the current process for us is, we brought on a couple products. There was an interior cleaner. It is out. It's available. You can buy it. You'll probably love it. It just didn't hit what Anthony and I were looking for in our testing. And if it's something that we don't enjoy, or feel like it's going to work best for you in your sense in that case, then it's not going to work.
No.
So,
for
our customers.
Just a quick follow-up, because I don't want to go spreading any kind of false information or anything. Ethan saying that somebody was posing as Pan replying to comments probably on a video, so it just made it look like them.
Right.
So I would say that's probably more likely. So before MySpace, it was Lisa Frank Diaries. Man, going way back. And Alex says, thank you for the transparency. Then we've got a few other ones. Okay. I do like this. Friends are friends. Business is business.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, a good way to look at it. And Ethan also saying, gotcha. I haven't seen it on any other distributor websites or anything either.
You can go to
curious.
Optimum Car Care or go to opticoat.com. It's available. You can buy it. It's there. But for us, Dr. G put on a foaming sprayer. We didn't really like the action of the foaming sprayer. And there were a couple other items. The product works, guys. There's nothing wrong with the product. It just doesn't fit in with what we're trying to create within the industry right now with what the rag company's offerings are. So it's still a fabulous product. It still works, but for us, we have a certain number of questions that we ask, and if it doesn't answer those questions, then we give back our feedback. And Dr. G is currently working on some tweaks for it, and there's nothing wrong. Like I said, that's one of the beauties is we have that capacity to explain and talk. Like, hey, if you did this, it might work a little better, or if you changed this sprayer, you get a little better control. So there's certain things that we look for and go. We try to find problems that don't exist. Yeah. So that we can provide you guys with the best things.
And not entirely 100% related, but to a greater point, kind of the stuff we've been talking about today, is a thing where people will read a little too far into commentary, where they'll see you say, oh, I like XYZ thing. You like that thing. Therefore, this is where their brain kicks in. They must hate that other thing.
Right.
And it's just like automatic zero sum, like, oh, this is good, then they must absolutely despise that other thing. And that's not true. Unless you said you don't like something, people shouldn't assume immediately that you don't like that thing.
Correct. Yeah, 100%.
And this goes for products. This goes for anything in life. But as far as we're concerned here, products.
Yeah. So, Kirby Thompson. Kirby, I'm hoping that you're feeling better, man. I hope your shoulders, your collarbone is healing since your accident. Just a question on the XL towels on the roll. Guess they are pre-washed, just since Levi mentioned them. So, little behind. I don't know if I should pull the curtain back on this.
We dunk every box in a giant water tank.
No, but here's the thing: when they're on the roll, after they come out of the die, they go onto the rolls. Then the rolls the big bolt is washed as a bolt
while it's on the bolt.
Then it's cut. Then it is put on our towel rolls and it is rolled and transferred to our roll.
So technically,
vacuum sealed.
It's washed, but it's cut after it's washed.
It's cut after it's washed because it's got to get transferred. So, yes and no. You can wash them if you want, but the goal of that towel, because it's a pearl weave, it doesn't need to be washed immediately. The other thing is, many, many times when a towel is being made, once it's cut, it is put into a dryer or a tumbler to help tumble it so that it can get some of the lint and some of the fluff and all that stuff off of it. Then they are pulled out of that dryer or dumped out of that dryer or tumbler into a basket. Just like your laundry at home.
Yeah.
How many of you have dropped a sock or a shirt pulling it out of that stuff out of the dryer? Right? Mm-hmm. It happens.
Yeah.
But imagine you're doing this with 1,000 towels.
Yeah,
and you
it's
drop
not
one.
a great situation.
Yeah. So you drop 1, 2, 10.
Yeah.
They do their best at the factories to sort those and get them out. That's one of the reasons we say we always recommend washing, because we can't guarantee that they're going to be ready to go right out of the bag.
No.
So we always err on the side of caution and say wash them. The process in which we make the rip and rags, those are okay. Those are good to use right out of the box, so to speak, because of the fact that it's still on the bolt.
Yeah.
From the start. So
no, that helps. It's a slightly different
it's a totally
order
different,
of events than the way other towels are processed, but it's the best you can do while giving you that type of product.
Yeah, and there are a ton of our towels that are ready to go right out of the bag. You don't have to wash them, but what we do is, like we say, err on the side of caution, and we ask that you wash before you use them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of people coming and going. I have
a
no
lot
idea
of great
what's going
stuff.
on
Yeah, we got a tour group going in through here.
Must be.
All right.
Yeah. So, did we do this one from
It's
Cheese
been hard,
Doodle
Dane. You've
about
been
the
bouncing around here.
I've been trying to keep it.
You guys should
varied.
make a twisted loop drying cover for the windshield reach tool, so you can wash dry the exterior windshield with the real tool. That would be nice. Yeah.
The problem was, if I go in order, I end up with like these conversations that don't really contribute to the. All right, so we've got whatever happened on the products. Did I do this one?
My wife was nice enough to, from John Krzwicki, my wife was nice enough to wash my liquidator towel with a little softener. If I soak it in some rags to riches overnight, is there a chance I can revive it? And how do you know if it's ruined? Yes, so soak it in the, soak it. So take that product, take about 2 ounces, put it in about 2 gallons of water, soak that towel. I would recommend soaking it for a couple washes. Okay. That will help it pull that softener out. Then put it in the wash. Straight out of the bucket, wring it out, throw it in the wash it. Don't dry it. Pull it out of the dryer, hang dry it. Then get it wet, then wash it. Then use it, find out.
Okay.
Just remember, towels, once they've been stripped, you do need a few seconds of letting them sit on the surface of a vehicle. So get the hood wet, throw it on there and let it sit for a bit. Sometimes what I do is I will spray the hood down, or rinse a car. I'll throw a towel on one side, set it on there, pick it up, throw it over my shoulder, pull my pressure washer out, get it wet again, throw the other side of the towel on there. What I've done is preload the towel. It's got a couple little droplets of water inside of it. Once it does that, capillary action happens and it starts sucking up water up into itself.
Yeah.
And so then it dries like crazy. It's amazing. And then going into Aaron's thing, need a different color for the 1500. Red bleeds on all the other towels. So red and black are the biggest offenders when it comes to a colorant and a dye process. That is the other thing. Towels with heavy dye, we do recommend you wash them.
Yes.
Because they're crunchier.
They are.
I mean, you want them soft. And so...
but every detailer wants a red or a black towel, and if you don't offer it, then the sales aren't the same as if you did. So it naturally encourages companies to try and do that, but there's always a trade-off.
The other thing is, hate to say it, fellas, a lot of us husbands don't do our own laundry. Our wives do our laundry. The only thing we do is wash our own towels, and the number one complaint we have is people going, "My towels bled together."
You're like, cool, walk me through your process. And then you find out their process is like psychotic.
Separate your colors, gentlemen.
It's a good place to start.
That's the biggest thing you can do. Because
now, in fairness,
if I took a red towel and I threw it in with my laundry, my current laundry, my wife would be pissed.
Yeah.
She'd go, "What are you doing? That you're going to ruin all the laundry. Why'd you do that?" I go, "I don't know. I want to wash my towel." So separate your towels, separate your colors, wash dark colors together, wash whites together or light colored towels together, wash all your reds together.
The potent stuff should get its own wash.
Yeah,
just
and
understood.
It's not that hard. I know people are like, "Oh, but I just don't want to do laundry for one big drying towel."
Right.
Okay, I understand that.
As opposed to buying more drying towels, if you're looking to just use the one you have, then okay, you dedicate a little extra time to taking care of it.
I wash my liquidators and my 1500s together. Yeah, they've bled together, but it doesn't matter. It didn't affect the drying at all.
No.
I'm not worried about my color on my liquidators now with just a little bit of
I realize some people
there.
are going to be like, that's no excuse. It shouldn't bleed, yada, yada,
No,
yada.
it does. It's going to. You've got to understand, we've got millions and millions and millions and millions of dye, of fibers that need dyed.
But my follow-up...
So it has to be dyed that heavily.
My follow-up point was going to be, you're going to have the folks who go, that's inexcusable, you shouldn't do that. But if you look at virtually any towel that's like that, you're going to experience something in the way of like not perfect color fastness, despite all the processes we try and do to accommodate to really make sure that it does happen. It's still not 100% guaranteed. But what I was going to say was, as far as the colors bleeding together, has no impact on the towel's ability to dry, to do its job.
Correct.
Aesthetically, sure, maybe you run into issues. Not everybody wants to have a bluish brown towel because some red got into it or something like that. I totally understand what you're saying in the case of like if you put a liquidator with a 1500, there's a chance that could happen depending on the temperature of the water used, the chemicals you're using with it, etc. It's possible. Is it guaranteed? No. Like, I wash a lot of this stuff at home. Like, I actually do my own laundry. I'm not somebody who, like, foists it on someone else. I actually do it. I'm fine with it. It doesn't bother me a bit. But I also know better than to put myself in these situations where things are going to bleed in a way that I don't want, because I at least understood enough to know, hey, that's going to happen. You put the whites with the reds or, you know, something else together, you're going to get an interesting combo, whether you mean to or not. It's just you're tempting fate when you do that.
100%. All right. So Slizzard, I've seen quite a few clay towels lately. Are they actually different, or is it more of a marketing thing? It depends on the company that's manufacturing it. Clay towels have been around for close to 15 years. It's not new technology.
Sure.
Originally it was clay bars, and then people started putting that clay onto a towel and utilizing. The difference then was the quality of the towel, quality of the clay.
Yeah.
A number of them physically scratch the ever-living snot out of cars.
The early popular ones were like the nanoskin type ones.
Well, the first that were actually really good were the nanoskin ones.
Right. Yeah. Those are the ones that people remember today.
The first safe ones were nanoskin.
There were other examples.
It was pretty rough, man. You were gonna do some paint correcting afterwards, because it just looked like someone took a knife and some clay and rubbed it on a block and
went
handed
random
it to you,
sicko
and
mode all
ridges
over it,
and ledges, and I mean, it's the early days of that stuff was hideous and scary.
But to the point about the clay, the early clay, like detailing clay, like once again going back to the interview we had with Dylan at the swap meets doing the clay demonstrations, people weren't used to that. That was like actual traditional clay in the style of like, okay, getting into detailing clay. The clay towels that you see, a lot of these things, they're not clay in the same way that a clay bar is clay. A lot of these towels, these mitts, things like we offer are a synthetic clay. It's a different animal.
Well, you got to be able to pour it onto a towel.
Yeah, it's got to be able to distribute across the surface of like a towel or a mitt, or in the case of the scrubbers, like that.
Yeah.
And it's not quite the same as a clay bar. So with the clay bars, you tend to have more flexibility in terms of the severity of clay you can get, like how strong it is, how likely you are, because they'll do like different grades, right? You have the fine, you got the medium, and then you got like the harsh ones that generally you'd stay heavy. You stay away from that unless you absolutely need to, because at a certain point you might as well be wet sanding. But that's just to give you an idea. The stuff that we sell tends to err on the side of caution. It's going to be the more gentle stuff. It will get the job done. You can handle things up to overspray, stuff like that, but it's not going to be the tear your paint off.
Yeah, the key is to look at the, like Dane's saying, the answer to your question is to look at the grade of clay on the clay towels. The ones we carry, the clay towels we carry, the clay scrubbers that we carry, have all been vetted by us, and they're all safe to use, but they are all fine grade. The clay bars, we have a variation. The ultra clay bar is a fine grade clay, but we do have some of the KCX clays that are varying degrees. So if you need something a little more aggressive, you can check out the KCX clay bars. So
yeah,
Dane, we got 1 minute and 30 seconds. We got 30 seconds left.
That's all right. I got Sean here. Good
all
old
right.
Sean
I started
Gulliker.
using paint gloss with the FTW on glass, and my struggle with glass is over. Amazing combo on glass. Nice, Sean. That's awesome.
And I think
Good
that's
use.
a nice place to end it here.
Oh,
so,
perfect.
yeah, that nice little round way to finish things off. Positive comment, but you know what? I also like the more challenging stuff too.
Yeah.
It's just with the kind of sporadic nature of the comments today, I wanted to.
The one person I didn't get to say hello to is Glenn Dennis, saying, long since I could catch live, the advantages of taking a late lunch. Glenn,
Glenn,
dude, thank you. We appreciate it. I saw G. Davis in there also.
He had some comments
about the circus act flexibility.
Yes, thank you for that.
Very impressive. So, boy. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to Anthony for joining us, gracing us with his presence.
We got half a show out of him. It's the start of the return. It's not
Let's
totally there yet, but he's on his way.
Yeah,
and for those who are wondering, we did our main show with Dylan von Kleist. We've also got a new main show coming up probably in a couple weeks here.
Yep.
When we get closer, I'll be able to announce a date once we've edited it and all that. But it'll be Alan Medcraft. So if you know Alan,
AM
looking
Details
forward
Alan.
to that. AM Details Alan. And we have Anthony, at least in the beginning and outro of that episode. So he's a part of it too. So for anybody wondering, where's Anthony? He is going to be there. Anyway, guys, I want to leave you on that note. And now that we're wrapping up Q&A, I want you to please add it to your queue or just go watch it now. The Dylan von Kleist Rag Company podcast episode. It's fantastic. It's a great use of your time. I promise you will learn something from it. Really, do go check it out. Levi and I worked hard on it, as well as Glenn back in the booth there. Want to say a big thank you to her. And the whole show. I'm just so excited about the new format. And I want you guys to comment below. Good. Tell us about it, or go comment. Better yet, go comment on that video. Tell us what you think of the new setup, because I really want to hear your feedback. Anyway, thanks again. Take care, and we'll catch you next week.
See ya.